Finnish, festering, dirty, old school death metalers. Morbific are back with their third studio album, Bloom in the Abnormal Flesh. Any previous history with this band, Mike? Morbific.
I think you put me onto these, and I checked out their debut and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. Squirm, I think their debut was Ominous Seep of Putridity. Lovely
Sounds
title.
about right.
Yeah, and then their second album, Squirm Beyond the Mortal Realm. That album got a bit of stick with the production. But I mean, both those albums were like really, really. I thought they were great. So I was a big fan of this band. So I didn't actually know they had a third album coming out. You kind of just chucked it onto me. But yeah, here we are.
I was made aware of it, John, somehow.
Somehow. Well, they have returned.
Somehow.
Bloom of the Abnormal Flesh. And I guess straight off the bat, I'm just going to jump straight in. They're not really breaking any new ground with this record. It's kind of what you expect. It is disgustingly putrid, old school death metal. Yeah. What's your thoughts on this, Mike?
This album, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, man. I did. I don't know about you. There were times on this album where I don't want to say I wasn't loving it, but there were some moments that were a bit by the numbers,
Yeah.
a little bit. You know, but no, I feel harsh saying that because I
No,
still
just
enjoyed it.
I'm in the exact same boat. I don't want like the first thing that we say to be like negative about this album, but like
Mm,
it is. I feel like they've almost regressed a bit in their kind of songwriting and scope. I feel like their previous records were a little bit more realized, and this
mm.
record went a little bit more vanilla in a way. I'm not quite sure why, because I enjoyed it. It was an all right listen. It's just some of it really washed over me, and I'm not quite sure why that was. Whether it was a kind of songwriting issue or production issue, I just felt like it didn't hit as hard as it could have.
I felt the album had some really, really good moments though, and I thought that there was some great riffs in there. Um, and I thought each song felt like it was saved by certain
A
moments.
moment, yeah,
But there were a few songs that I felt the bulk of it was a little bit, as you said, vanilla
yeah,
and not too exciting. Um, but I thought they were best as a band when they sort of, when they're kind of riff and groove, there'd be a bit of a groove to it. Those
yeah,
bits were fucking cool.
yeah.
I loved those bits. I thought they were brilliant, and they did a lot of them. And I thought for me, that's what kept me in with the album were those sections. But some of the other parts that weren't that, I kind of lost a bit of interest.
I'm in the exact same boat, man. I found like kind of one of my top notes was that like they were able to find really cool pockets of groove around the chaos.
Mm.
And I found that this band worked best when they went a little bit more, I don't want to say like experimental, but like they would kind of shift between paces, and the drums and guitar work would sort of combine in like hitting out syncopations and like kind of following each other rather than just straight drumming over kind of tremolo moments, um,
Yeah.
which they kind of there were those moments, and that was maybe the kind of more vanilla section. But when they almost went a little bit outside of the boxes, when it shined, it just felt like they were a little bit too few and far between, which it was surprising for me, man, because I felt like they didn't have that issue on their previous stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually went back and listened to the first album, and there was there was more kind of magic in that first album for me that kept me into that one. But I have to say there were moments on this album that were better than what I'd heard from them before. Do you know what I mean? Like some of the moments were better than their older stuff. And
Yeah.
actually in particular, there was one the title track, track 10, Bloom of the Abnormal Flesh, I thought was excellent. And that was for me easily the standout song on the album.
So that was I think, was that the longest song on the record? I think it might have
It
been.
was the longest song. It was about 6 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I felt like they experimented a bit more with pacing, and
Yeah,
you had a really cool kind of like almost Death Doom section at the end where the kind of the riff was a bit more single note and it just like kind of slowed everything down. That song felt more like the ender as well of the album. I was quite surprised
yeah.
they went into something else after that was a bit shorter and a bit more like just in your face. But
Well, I thought that, but I quite liked it in a way because bands don't tend to do that, do they? And it was quite cool that they went for this like 2 minute long. It almost had a hardcore influence in a way, like it had almost that sort of you know hardcore punk energy mixed in with the death metal, and it being like a short song and stuff as well.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, you could almost. It depends which way you look at it. In a positive way, it's refreshing that they did that, but almost in a negative way, it almost sounds like a bonus song
yeah,
added on.
it did feel like a bonus, almost like maybe even a hidden song, like you could imagine that
Mm.
being.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I actually thought that song was actually one of the better songs on the album as well.
There's a cool harmonized bit in that.
There was, and I felt like that was the first time they kind of did that on the whole record. There was like
Yeah,
a proper dual lead moment, and
I had to check. I had to check it was still the same band.
yeah, exactly. And I think that moments where they were kind of a bit more experimental in doing like individual moments is where they kind of shine. I just kind of wish there was a bit more of it. And also, I'm jumping around a little bit here, but there was a track 6. It was a stifling, stagnant reek. It was
Great
their
title.
great title. It was their it was like an interlude track, but I think sonically it was maybe my favorite on the record. It was had this kind of like swampy, clean guitar lead, just doing like this like lick that sort of repeated with this like really cool synth underneath it, and it was refreshing enough and sounded like new that it it made me kind of it re-piqued my interest, but then you never really heard any more of that kind of sound, and I just kind of wish that they maybe brought more of that into the kind of record.
Yeah, it was a well placed um, track on the album as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think when you're listening to an album that maybe isn't hitting all the way through, when you get to something like that, it stands out.
Yeah, maybe that's why I
Um,
kind of enjoyed that one.
did you think, John? What did you think of the production?
I'm a bit on the fence with the production, right? Because I think their very first record had like quite a straight old school death metal sound. Their second record had a very weird production sound, but I personally thought it was really cool. Um, then this one, it was like they went a bit more traditional. You kind of had like a bit more kind of buzzsaw guitar. The vocals sat really nicely in the mix. They kind of
Yeah,
overpowered when they needed to. Like when he had this kind of like bestial, deeper vocal, it really pushed the mix and sounded really
his vocals are
powerful.
great, by the way.
Yeah,
Just while we're talking about it, his vocals are fucking
his
awesome.
vocals were standout. I think they kind of were a highlight on the record. But I felt like there was something missing with the drums, and I maybe they could have had a touch more attack or volume. And then just there were moments when like I think the whole like moments should have hit, but they just didn't hit. Like when they kind of all drop into a riff at the same time, you expect it to be like quite a powerful moment, but it just fell a little bit flat. And that's why I said at the start, like, I'm not sure if it was a production issue or like a songwriting issue where these moments didn't fully hit their like realized moment.
If the production for me was interesting because a lot of it I liked in the sense of the character of it, but in places I was just thinking like it feels a little bit unmixed. Like
Yeah, I could hear that.
I like that the drums were raw, but it felt like they needed to be pushed a little bit more. And I loved how fuzzy the bass was as well, but it also felt like it was just the effect and there wasn't any of the kind of guts of the bass behind it.
Yeah.
Um but saying that, I still kind of enjoyed it because there was a lot of kind of character to it. But it just felt like it just slightly missed the mark
Yeah.
production wise.
I'm in the same. I think we've got the exact same take on it. I think one thing I really enjoy about this band is the looseness of everything that they're doing. I think I guess in that production sense, is what kind of is quite cool in a way that it is kind of felt a little bit unmixed and rough and ready. But then, like,
Yeah.
even in their playing, which I didn't really notice on the previous records, but with this one, there felt like there was a when they kind of went fast in some sections or like there was a bit more technicality in some moments, it almost felt that they were just about to fall out of time with each other, but there was just
That's track 2 felt like that. Is it panspermic blight?
panspermic
Which,
blight. Yeah, yeah, the intro
it's
of that
yeah, I've got to Google what that fucking word means. Wait, hang on.
panspermic.
What does panspermic what does panspermic mean?
But yeah, exactly. That track, the intro of that felt like it was just about to fall out of time with, and it was very sloppy, but in a really well done way. Like, you know, that old school kind of slop where it
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
just about held together where it feels cool.
Yeah, it was it literally felt like it was gonna fall apart, and it was just about there.
Yeah.
Um, can I try do you wanna know what
Yeah,
about panspermia?
please. You've had spermia. All right, yeah, go on.
This is cool, actually. So panspermia is the hypnosis that life is distributed throughout the universe, carried by cosmic bodies like meteorites and comets. So it
Oh.
wasn't rude, John, if that's what you're
My
thinking.
mind was going elsewhere, I must
Yeah, it
say.
was going a little bit spermy.
It was. It was. Yeah, no, that was cool. I think that was maybe one of the kind of better songs. There was pace changes, injections of blasts around towards the end. There was almost like a kind of two-step moment towards the end as well, which was pretty cool. But then again, it's like you had that was a cool song. Track one was a cool song, but then track three, I think, was where like the kind of more vanilla moments played out. It felt a little bit vanilla, menagerie of grotesque trophies. Um, it was a kind of slower track all the way through, and it just felt that everything on display was like a little lackluster, almost like they kind of just threw it all together towards the end of the session and just was like, oh, okay, let's use this.
Yeah, I remember there being a great riff in that one. Sort of about, I've got a note about 3 minute 45, but then I put the rest of the song. It was all right. It was all right, but nothing too standout. Although I do think the next track, Promethean Mutilation, was a highlight for me. I enjoyed that one. That was a lot more of that kind of groove riffing throughout that one. And what they did on there, which I thought was cool, is they added bells.
Yeah,
Did you hear that bit?
it was really out
Yeah,
of it. It took me by surprise, man, because they only do it like once,
yeah.
don't they? And
They do it a couple of times, but yeah, it just in that one section. Yeah, but they
yeah,
they they hit the bell like a 2 or 3 times.
yeah, and that one they kind of it was that not introduction, but like that low bestial vocal makes a kind of return, and I really
Yeah.
enjoyed when he did that kind of thing. It's a weird one, this record, man, because there is some really good moments on it. It's almost like it just sits like bang in the middle of like some really good moments and some really vanilla moments. So I don't.
There's no bad moments though.
No, there are no bad moments. There are no bad moments. But is that in itself? No, I was going to say, is that in itself
Is that
bad
bad
that
in
it's kind of
itself?
vanilla? Yeah, like would you rather there be kind of some bad moments on it? But obviously not.
I don't know. Unless we're just kind of expecting
Too much.
too much.
Potentially, maybe I was expecting too much because I think their last two records were so good that maybe I just had too high a hope going into this.
I think you might have.
Yeah. Worth checking out though. At least give it once through because
Oh,
there's
definitely, and a band worth checking out.
yeah.
I also as well. You know when you don't talk about a band to people and it's just kind of in your own head. I had never sort of attempted to say their name. And I wasn't sure whether it was like in my head, whether it was Morbific or Morborific.
It's more Biffic, isn't it?
It is Morbific, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
No, but in my head there was part of me was like, is there an R? Is there another sort of an R and an I in there? Sort of like,
Is it terrific? Is it terrific and
but
morbid like
yeah, yeah. It's in like, it's
combined?
in, yeah. I'd like to know the story behind that because it sounds like it could be quite a funny. sort of
Yeah.
take on a name, as if like describing something in the way that you'd say it was terrific, but it's morbid.
Like Harry Redknapp, like Triffic as well. It would be like you kind of
I like
much
him. Well,
put
like Harry Redknapp's getting into death metal.
yeah. Oh, this is Morbific, mate.
Sort of hanging out of his car, sort of leaning on there,
Around Bournemouth,
being interviewed about yeah,
along the
being
sound banks.
yeah, just sort of being interviewed about, underground death metal from his car. Do you
Absolutely
reckon he'd do that? He
Morbific.
seems to crop up on a lot of shit these days. Maybe we could get Harry Redknapp to come on and we can interview him from his car.
What's your take on it?
Get Harry Redknapp's like albums of the year list.
Harry, if you're
Yeah, I think it's a
watching,
terrific album. It's terrific. Yeah,
yeah, it's Morbific. It's
it's a top
Morbific.
top album.
No wonder it's in the fucking reserves.
Yeah.
All right, listen. I think this is probably an album worth checking out. Whether you're gonna like go back to it more and more is up to you and your takes on death metal.
Look,
I
it's a
think
band. It's a band worth delving into. Let's be honest.
100%. Yeah, if you've never checked this band out, like go from the start of their discography. I mean, they're not even that old, are they? They kind of formed in 2020.
Yeah, they've just been quite busy.
They have been busy. They've actually put out quite a lot of stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
like definitely
I
check
think it
out
came out on this album on my T-shirt.
on that label. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I think it came out. Yeah, yeah, I think
I
it did.
think it did. Yeah, bit of a fanboy, are you? Is that what?
No, I just I can't remember why I got it. I think I bought a vinyl from from them, and I decided to order the T-shirt at the same time.
Representation.
Yeah,
Yeah, check out their debut and then the following, and check this out as well. They're definitely worth checking out for sure. It'd be interesting to know what people think, like where this sits in their discography, because it's definitely one that could split opinion. I think, but
and it's at the end for you, isn't it?
unfortunately, it is.
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately, it is. Listen, I'm sorry, Morbific. Great band though. Like, I am excited to see what they do next. I guess in a way because I don't think they've, I don't think they fully realised their sound yet. If that makes sense.
yes.
I feel like there's still
I think
some.
that I mean, there's so many moments in this that it's like there's. I mean, I'm gonna be excited for any time they've got something coming out.
Yeah, they've done and they've got enough in the bank to keep me keen. Shall we
You're
say?
still there.
I'm still
I
there.
think that's a
Yeah.
big relief to them as well.
Yeah, listen, you've still got me, Morbific. I'm still around.
You're still there.
Yeah. Listen, if you've liked what you've heard, subscribe because we put out new videos every Wednesday and Friday, kind of covering music that we think is probably worthy of your time. And let us know in the comments if you did check this out because I'm very keen to know. We'll catch you in the next one.